It is November 2012. The time on my digital readout is 3:55 a.m. I've been sitting staring at my phone for the last hour, waiting for 4 o'clock to roll around. Because 4 o'clock means that I will get to take the drugs that I need to quell the pain that lives and shoots throughout my entire body. I've been progressing to this point for the last 6 months. A slight injury that turned catastrophic, a bulging disc that is pressing on a sciatic nerve that has ruptured. As the 4 o'clock hour rolls around, I make the decision that I need more, and I double dose. At this moment, for some strange reason, my wife happens to walk through the kitchen door and sees me after I'd stuffed the pills in my mouth and chased it down with water. And she asks me politely, "What the hell are you doing?" And I collapse and I crumble onto the floor where I lay crying and saying, if this is life, I can't go on anymore. For the past 6 months, I've infected the lives of other people with my pain and my suffering to where this is the narrative. This is all that people talk to me about. I have pain in my eyes. My wife calls the doctor, who answers the phone at 4:15 a.m. and she says, "This has to stop. We need to do surgery." He says, "Well, be at my office at 8 a.m. and we'll take care of this thing." And they do. They do. They fix the glitch. They cut out the bulge, but for the next 2 years, I lived with pain as my body slowly heals itself. And every single time I come across somebody, the first question they ask is, how's your back? How are you doing? And I take umbrage with this because all I think about is my back. All I talk about is my back. I'm being identified as having a back injury and I don't like it. So I ask my friends, please stop. I don't want to talk about this anymore. And what's interesting is the moment that I stop talking about this, the pain starts to dissipate because I'm controlling the narrative. We're talking about something else. We're talking about anything other than what is pressing so deeply in my back. 8 weeks ago, 2 weeks after the shutdown started, I was escaping reality by going for a bike ride with my friend Lucas. We were 2.5 hours into a 3-hour ride and just nice to have the fresh air on the face and a little bit of freedom, if you will. We're on the bike path a little south of the Broncos Stadium. We're headed home. Lucas says to me, "Hey, let me take the front. I know this really, really cool path that we can take on the way home." I was like, that sounds great. And as he comes in front of me, my handlebars somehow disappear out of my hands and they come back and they hit me in the wrist and suddenly I'm Superman across the entire handlebars. You know those accidents where everything slows down and you have a lot of time to think about, this is going to be very bad. This is not one of those accidents. It is over the moment that it starts. My back wheel comes up, my hands slam into the ground, my chest slams in the ground, and my shoulder finds the only thing that is on that bike path besides pavement, which is a steel park bench. And as my shoulder slams into it, all I think to myself is, this is very bad. And as soon as I sit up and I grab my arm, which feels like a rubber tube and not even my own, I scream out loud, "This is very bad." And I push the arm up and it falls back down. I pull it across my body and I know what has happened. I have crushed my shoulder. And my friend Lucas comes by. He's like, "What the hell just happened?" I was like, "I have no idea, but this is very bad." The ambulance shows up. The paramedics are looking down on me. And I tell them, "This is very bad. I can't go to the emergency room. We're in the middle of a pandemic." And they're like, "Mr. Bailey, this is very bad. We need to see what is going on." Next thing I know, I'm in the back of the ambulance and I'm in the emergency room. And the only shining light in this entire thing that if you are going to have a catastrophic injury, a pandemic is the time to do it. Because there is nobody at the ER. In fact, in record time, in under 2 hours, I am in and out of the ER. X-rays, sling, ice packs, drugs. It's miraculous. I'm saying if you're gonna go to the ER, now's the time to do it. But as I come out of the ER and I wrestle with what it is that I'm faced with, I make a decision. I'm going to control the narrative. I'm not going to tell anybody. Because when you drop a bomb like this on somebody, and I see the faces here in our audience of like, oh my God, when you say something like this, it takes over the conversation. It dominates everything. I didn't want that, because for that to happen would be to get sympathy and empathy. And those things are great, but that's not what I want. I want to control the narrative. I want to talk about something other than, because I'm living with this as it is, and it's mine. And I want to control it. I want to own it. I share it with a few people. A friend of mine, Hawthorne, he's like, oh, dude, that sucks. But the good news is you crushed your dominant hand. You can't use your left hand. You can only use your right hand. That means you're going to be more creative now than you ever have been. You know what? Hawthorne's 100% correct. Because I finally figure out that I need a purpose. And the creative juices start to flow. And what I decide to do is the best thing that we can do for ourselves at a time where we don't know what we want or need to do. And it's to reach out to other people and to ask them, what do you need? How are you doing? What can I do to help you? Because in helping others, we find purpose for ourselves. And over the last 8 weeks, I have dived really, really deep into the one thing that I can focus on, which is reaching out to people and sharing stories and having conversations and controlling the narrative. And I'm happy to say that I've got movement in my arms, and yes, it's still stiff, and I will recover from this. As we live our lives more enclosed and more secluded from each other, we have an opportunity to control the narrative. Yes, we can talk about the din and the clanging that is surrounding all of us, but we also have an opportunity to talk about some other things, to talk about life and the things that we enjoy and what makes us all so real and so human. So I encourage you that don't ignore what is going on, but when you reach out, don't dominate the conversation with what is holding you back and wearing you down. Control your narrative. And on this stage that we have here, which is digital, we have a chance to connect with each other and share what is most important, which is the needs of other people.
All right, Keith, well done. Controlling the narrative. Let's give Keith 60 seconds of your best written comment.